Hello everyone, in today's video I'll be sharing with you a great game in the Caro-Kann, and with the white pieces it is Sergei Tiviakov versus with the black pieces it is Michael Adams. um, and this game is it's a follow-up from my last video in the Karpov Caro-Kann, and basically Michael Adams here he plays the Karpov Caro-Kann, and he pretty much shows everyone like how to play it. So I think it's a very instructive game, and I haven't gone over this game with an engine. I just went over it myself, and I learned a lot. It's very instructive, so I think you will enjoy it. Okay, so Sergey starts the game with e4 and c6, d4, d5, the Caro-Kann, knight d2, takes, and knight d7, the Karpov variation. Now, white goes knight f3, knight f6, and knight g3. If you want to know the theory on this line, I made a video. My latest video was on the theory, in case you wanted to know about this. And now Michael Adams here goes c5. He's doing the exact same line I was showing yesterday, and Sergey goes with bishop d3, e6, and castles. Now takes, bishop c5, knight b3, and bishop e7. And this was all covered in yesterday's video, and now white went rook e1, castles, and queen f3. And this is pretty much the starting position of this variation. It's kind of when the theory ends. And I said yesterday, of my last video, I said I'll be showing a game, and I was saying that it will be interesting to see how these top players navigated this position. So if you're looking to play this variation, hopefully you can learn something and really understand, really get some ideas, get inspiration on how you should try and navigate this position, just some general ideas. So Michael Adams here goes a5, and this was the move I was saying yesterday. And now white here goes a4. He wants to stop this pawn advancing, and yeah, he just wants to stop this pawn advancing. Now black goes knight b6, and the idea of knight b6 is that when this knight is on d7, it's not really going anywhere. And especially now you've gone a5. If you try to go like knight e1, knight f8, well, there's just like bishop b5, I think, and I don't think it's that good. So that's why, and it's also very slow. It's just very slow in general. So he goes knight b6 to come to the d5 square. And now here, black goes bishop d2. He's just developing his bishop. And here white goes, oh sorry, it's black's move. Black goes knight d5, and now he's done a maneuver. He had his knight on d7. Now he's gone from b6 to d5. So a maneuver to definitely remember. And now white here goes bishop b5. He's using this diagonal now that his pawn is kind of using it as almost an outpost now that his pawn supports the bishop coming here. But Michael Adams, he plays this game very well, by the way, and is very instructive. He just contests this because this bishop needs to develop. So it's almost like he gets free development because he's just he can just develop while offering to trade pieces. And here instead of taking, also if you're wondering, I came across an interesting funny line. If white was to here go bishop d3, then if knight b4, trying to attack this bishop, if white wanted to get greedy, then with taking this pawn, then bishop c6 traps the queen, would be pretty funny. But that obviously did not happen. Instead, he played c5. Sergei here played c4. Sorry, he played c4 and takes. If you're wondering, and then he took with the a pawn. If you're wondering if why after takes you can't take this pawn, you can't take the knight, sorry, it's because bishop c4, and you'll win back you would just, I think, your upper pawn, because you're attacking the knight and you're going to take this pawn. So that's why he did not do that. Instead, he took with the a pawn, still keeping an attack on this knight. And here Michael Adams played knight b4. And now, as you will see, a key thing to note in this variation is that when black plays a5, normally when this knight comes from b6, d5, it can often land on b4. And if you remembered in my last video, I was saying it's important to not put the bishop on b6, and here's even an example, because here it supports this knight. Okay, so white continued here with he played an interesting move. He took the pawn, and you might be thinking, why did he take the pawn? Does that not just blunder a fork? Well, it kind of it doesn't really blunder a fork, but he does allow a knight c2. Rook a5, and now knight e1, taking. Here there was an exchange. He took. The positioning gets liquefied, and now bishop takes. And now here's a crucial moment that I want all of you to see. And basically, Michael Adams here is up the exchange with the black pieces. But white does have these three pawns. One's doubled though. I think if they were all connected, it would be just easily winning. So he, in compensation, he does have these pawns, and it's going to be very interesting to see if Michael Adams stops these pawns and how he tries to stop them. Okay, well, Michael Adams goes rook a4. Also, one interesting thing to note is with these super grandmasters, I'm sure even all the way back when Michael Adams played knight c2 forking, he probably already saw this position, and he was probably already thinking about how to stop these pawns, which just shows how incredible these players actually are. Because I don't think you can go into this variation without seeing this. So so he played rook a4. And now he's attacking this pawn, and he's trying to put his rook behind these pawns. I think it's an important move. Now white goes c5, and now Michael Adams here goes rook c4, and he's got his rook behind this pawn, and he's threatening to win it. So so c6 was played here, and now after c6, black played knight d5. Now he's controlling these squares to try and prevent any further push of the pawns. And now here white played knight f1. I think then he played king f8, getting his king into the game. And here white played knight e3. So he's giving himself an isolated pawn, but to remove a defender of these crucial squares. So takes, and here, yes, king e8 was played. Bishop c3, attacking these pawns. It's worth mentioning here that white has two pawns in compensation for the exchange. Just so you know, it's not three pawns, because black has an extra pawn on e6. Well, actually f7. Okay. Now this move. White played bishop c3 here. He's attacking these pawns. And now, I mean, black could maybe just go g6, put all these pawns on light squares, and not have to worry. But the reason why I like this game is, first of all, I've already learned a lot about this variation, and how Michael Adams navigated this position. But the move he plays next, I really, really liked. It was bishop c5. I really, really like this move, actually, because the idea is if knight takes, after rook c5, you're just losing a pawn, and You know, if you take this pawn, these pawns, they can't be captured because they're on light squares, but this pawn will also be falling, and this pawn will. I mean, it could, it's weak, but this pawn will be falling, and you have an isolated pawn here. So I really, really liked bishop c5 move because it's also counter-attacking. If white decides to take, then Michael Adams was just going to take, I think. And the last reason I like this move is because it prepares to put his bishop on b6. So after king f2, he didn't want to lose his pawn. Michael Adams plays bishop b6, and I really liked. I think this is quite instructive actually, on how Michael Adams put his bishop kind of jamming these pawns, stopping their action. I really liked it. Okay, so king f3, king d8. Bishop g7. I don't think Michael Adams cared about this because he saw he was up a rook, and I think he wanted to concentrate on winning this pawns. Although I'm not clear because I'm not reading this from a book. I just saw this game from the position in the database. But I'm presuming that he was focusing on these pawns, and I think he thought he could have defended these pawns. Okay. Also, I think he thought if the king was to get here, he would just attack these pawns. So, yeah. And now, rook b4. Here he's attacking the knight, and he's also he's x-raying this pawn and this pawn. So, nice move. And now, Sergei plays knight d4. It's moving away. And here, Michael Adams takes with the bishop, of course. And here Michael Adams plays. He takes this pawn, and now Michael Adams is doing okay in this position. He there's a weakness here. There's a weakness here. And yeah, these pawns could easily be picked off. So king e4. Sergei brings his king into the game. I like how this rook covers this rank, and this pawn does a nice job. Okay, he plays king c7. This pawn is just a goner. He will just have to lose it because it's on a light square. Bishop c3, and just takes. G3, trying to advance these pawns. King d6, king d3, and now rook f5, trying to infiltrate here. So white goes king e4, rook f2, check, and now here he moves to c6. Now this is a crucial moment actually, because white plays g4, but that's actually I think it's a blunder on Sergei's behalf. I think maybe there was just low morale, or he already saw he was down. When you're down a lot of material sometimes, or you kind of know your position, it's going to be hard to win. You don't really make the best decisions. Well, for me, but you know, he's a grandmaster, so he probably has that all under control. But he did go g4 here. Now Michael Adams plays a great move. He plays f5. After takes, he has to go king d4, and now Michael Adams is winning this pawn. And if you're wondering, oh, why can't white just go king d3 and keep the pawn? Well, king d5, and now this bishop has to move, and this bishop has to pretty much stay on this diagonal to defend the h2 pawn and the b2 pawn. So that's why Sergei just decided to go to d4. So rook b2, bishop g3, and now rook b5, cutting off this king. E4, I think it's a blunder pretty much because of rook b4. Takes, bishop f4, rook c4, and bishop h7. Rook c2, he takes, he just gives up this pawn. I think it's because it would be too hard to defend, and he also wins a pawn. Now, this position is a rook and a pawn against a bishop, and I think this should be winning for black. I'm not actually sure myself, but I do think it should be winning, depending on how black plays. Okay, Bishop. Someone in the comments, if you actually know if this is a theoretical endgame, please tell me if this is like theoretically winning, or if this or when it's not winning, or when it is. Okay, so Rook G2, King F3, and Bishop Rook G6, Bishop G3, and now Michael Adams starts to push his pawn, and now King F4. Michael Adams brings his king into the game, and now Bishop E1. And an important thing to notice that I was actually noticing when I was going over this game is that notice how Michael Adams places his rook on this G file, because he's pretty much cutting off the king, so he can try and push this pawn. It's quite interesting because you can't let white win this pawn. So I like how he's cutting off this king. Okay, so Bishop E1, and now he goes Rook G5, King F3, King E6, Bishop G3, and King F5, Bishop B8, and he pushes the pawn, Bishop H2, and now H3, Bishop G3, Rook G6, King F2, and King E4, Bishop H2, and it was in this position after Sergei Tiviakov. I'm really bad at pronouncing that name. Please forgive me if I completely butchered it. But I believe this was in a candidates match, by the way. They did play a lot of games, lots in the Caro-Khan, so I can go over some other ones. But it was in this position after he played Bishop H2 that he resigned. And now the video doesn't quite end here because I still have one more puzzle for you. If you want, you can pause this video as a exercise, and if you want, you can bring out a board, or you can just try and do it looking at the screen and try and find why he resigned. Just find the idea. You don't have to find the whole variation, but just the idea. But basically, it's just Rook G2 and he wins the bishop. So yeah, it's just a one move tactic. Yeah, and he just wins the bishop, and it's winning. But anyway, that was an amazing game from Michael Adams, and I actually learned a lot. Because if you do want to learn about the theory of the Karpov Caro-Kann, as you see, it's an extremely deadly weapon with black. Then make sure to subscribe, because I'll be making videos with all the theory. If you do want to start playing it, the next couple videos will be on the theory, covering all the different lines. Hopefully, we'll see Michael Adams his games on this channel being featured more. But yeah, if you did enjoy the video, please let me know in the comments or leave a like. And if you are interested in learning about the theory, make sure you subscribe. I hope you enjoyed this video, and peace.